everyone had a chance to sign in? Just pass it around and fill in if you're missing. You wanna click here? Okay.
Well, not for another year.
It's going around, Mark. If you want, Mark, pass it around.
We have a quorum, it is 7:30, so I will call the town board meeting to order. First item of business is pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item of business is to accept the resignation of our clerk treasurer. Gave a verbal resignation last Monday night.
Was there a written?
I have not seen anything written. Anybody received a written? I sent her a letter requesting a written resignation, nothing came.
I think it's important for everybody to know why she resigned. The last two items that pushed her over the limit was the payment of her pay and the limiting on her insurance. And you guys used the words that because her responsibilities for the road would be cut, her hours should be cut, but the responsibilities of the road were never hers. So you can't really take anything away from her because she wasn't supposed to help her meet it. The next issue was when you lied about that road grader operation. She was pretty disgusted about that, you and Bill. You told her, you said for her to post it, and we approved the minutes last month, so it was as good as gospel as far as I'm concerned, you said that in there. And then you turned on her and said that you didn't tell her to do that, and we've got it on videotape in there, you proofreading the ad and saying, yeah, go ahead and post it, so that bothered her. And then that, on top of the harassment from Mr. Persing, where she had to go to the sheriff's department, that one time. It's very important that everybody knows exactly why she quit. She was here for 14 years, and you drove her over the edge. So now you got the, I said, don't say you didn't do it, Gene, because you approved the minutes last month meeting, and that's what it said. That you approved for her to post for the road grader out there. And now you changed your mind.
Gets us
So,
nowhere.
yeah, you're right, you're getting us nowhere. You lied about her and to her and tried to
Greg, Mike, can I interject?
Yeah, this is Mr. Wu.
I'm Mr. Movin, Connie's husband, thought I'd come and attend this meeting. I did watch the last meeting on tape. You guys didn't stick to agenda, you sit and read the agenda for the meetings. You two went off the agenda, David, Bill. You brought up the fact about pay, her pay. Somebody in the audience also chimed in, and somebody also tried to protect my wife and chimed in. But you guys went off agenda and brought up about pay. Was not on the agenda, yet you decided to bring up a personal matter in front of the township where it should have been addressed personally and then brought up on agenda at the next meeting, meaning this meeting. Why is that?
There's a meeting specifically for that, Mark, and it's in December, but they decided to do that.
Why?
This fella and this
Answer to me in front of all the residents here of Princeton Township. Why did you decide to do that?
Mark, these two did the budget at home in their kitchen table.
I understand that. You know what, Eugene?
You brought it to us
No
done.
respect for you, sir.
And nobody
No
had
respect. You have
any
no
time
respect
to
for
read
my
the
wife.
budget before we voted on it.
She busted her ass for this place for 14 years. And you squabble over a little thing like a grader, operator. And you approved it. Greg, I agree with you 100, holy
I
heart.
was here.
I see everything. I talk with my wife just like I'm sure you fine folks do. And I know what goes on. I see what happens. I never sat down and watched meetings, but I did now. I went back quite a ways. I find it to be a joke. I can't believe these people sit here and listen to this, and you're spending their tax dollars on your pet projects.
And they did it at their kitchen table.
At their
I didn't
kitchen
meet the
table,
public
which,
meeting.
thank you for bringing that up at the last meeting I happened to listen to, Greg,
These two.
and you guys, it's like, let's all pile on Greg. What is that all about? And I apologize, folks, I know it's not open forum, but you know what? I got 14 years of dealing with my wife, working, busting her butt for this place. Greg knows. They worked hand in hand. They did a lot of stuff together here, and it got done. But now you guys walk in, you got escorted out of here by these fine folks with a uniform on, didn't you?
I never got us.
You did not.
He ran first. He ran.
Oh, you ran first. You must have been wearing tennis shoes. Thank you for bringing that up. This is what you guys have got representing you at the council.
Mark is a safe
I agree with you 100%, sir.
I understand, but you know what, Eugene? Why don't you listen to the people here? I know there's an open forum.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to accept the resignation. And I would
I
like
Do
would
you
like-
have a written resignation?
I have one question. I've only been filming these meetings maybe 3 months now, 4. How are you saying that your wife accessed the videos at home where you watch
They're
them?
right online. There's a YouTube, right on YouTube. There was the Princeton Township meetings.
I'm just-
Somebody put them on there, and
And I
I
do.
believe it was your voice I
Yep.
heard behind
It's
it.
it's 4 meetings. So what I'm saying is I've only had 4 meetings,
Okay,
and
go
you're
on
saying you've been
YouTube.
watching for quite a while.
It's funny, I go on there and plug it into YouTube, Princeton Township pops right up, but I go in there today, right before I came here, they were all gone.
No, they're not.
Well, you know what, something changed in the search bar then, I'm guessing,
Chairman,
but anyways,
I'd move
neither here nor
to
there.
Discussion.
Motion has been made to accept the resignation. Is there a second?
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the resignation. Any further discussion?
But you don't wanna
from
discuss the
board?
why, is that correct? I'm just trying to get a feel for this, you don't wanna,
We're
you don't
gonna
wanna know the
open forum
why.
to Discuss it.
You wanna discuss it what, in private? No, I think the
Open
fine
forum.
folks here,
Just trying to get on with the agenda.
okay, now we're gonna stick to the agenda, all right.
Is there any further discussion on the accepting the resignation?
It's nothing to smirk about, Mr. Dude.
I'm not smirking about
You're
anything.
talking about my life, my wife,
If not, we
income,
will
you're
proceed
talking
to
about it
vote.
all.
Why
All
didn't
in
she
favor,
show up?
Would you show up to this
Yes,
goddamn monkey
because
show?
she still is the
Yeah, and I
source.
heard your voice in the last
Subject.
meeting too, I'm sorry to
I'm
say.
glad to hear that. You have good
And it's
ears.
just, you know what?
All opposed say no. Motion's carried. We have accepted the resignation of our clerk treasurer. Next item of business is to appoint a secretary. MET suggests that a board member keep minutes, and, Mr. Duden has willingness to do that. We can appoint Mr. Duden to move along. I move that we appoint Mr. Duden as secretary.
When was he thrown into the ring? When did we have a meeting to discuss that?
He asked me, he goes, would you be willing to take minutes at the next meeting? I said, sure. That's all I'm doing. Unless you wanna take minutes, I'll throw my notepad to
You
you.
could read my handwriting if you wanted to.
Is there a second to the motion to appoint
is he gonna be literally secretary from now on? Or are you gonna put out something for
We will
somebody to be hired?
We will be in the process of getting another clerk treasurer or clerk and treasurer.
So he's just a temporary, not,
I'm just taking
This
minutes.
is, he will probably be considered a permanent secretary during the meeting, cause MAT says that we should have a clerk, a supervisor take minutes.
at least take minutes, right?
Yeah.
So he's not gonna be treasurer, he's not gonna
No,
be
he's not
secretary, he's
going
just
to be,
taking
no.
minutes right now.
Right.
Okay. That's the only discussion I wanted to make sure of.
Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Approved minutes of the August 20th meeting.
I haven't had a chance to read these, there's no way we can approve them, I just got them like 5 minutes ago.
No,
I'm not
let's take a
gonna
few
vote in
minutes.
favor of something I can't read and dissect. There's, I already see a couple of mistakes in it right off the bat. Civic donations will no
This-
longer be directed
This
to
is
apply
not
to fire
part
truck
of,
fund.
this is not part of the meeting. This is part of the continuation of the annual meeting.
Do we have any minutes from the other meeting? Cause I don't
It
have.
starts right here.
Okay. So, there's no way I can vote on it, cause I haven't had a chance to read it.
We'll take a 5-minute recess so you can look
No,
at
don't bother. I'm sure you guys have read it. I didn't get anything in my packet, so, I didn't get a packet. You shoved one under my door last night,
I said, separate one under your door.
an agenda. So I got nothing with the packet, so I don't know any of the things you guys are discussing.
Mine showed up yesterday in the mail, Greg, so.
I didn't get mine in the mail yesterday.
I just got this today.
I didn't, I just got mine right now.
That's what I said. I just got this.
And then you can't vote on them because nobody's had a chance to look at them and dissect.
I'll make a motion that we table it.
Motion made to table the approval of the minutes till the October meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll approve or vote on the motion to table minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried. We will move that to October. We do not have financial report available because of our turnover in staff, so we will have to bypass that also. Old business, follow-up on township contracts. And I'm quite sure
What exactly does that mean?
came up on
I think what it means was I had reached out to, a law firm, Kennedy and Graven, just after, we had been showing the expense that we were paying to, cost the Rinkin unit at $2.85 an hour. So Kennedy and Graven put in, what they charge townships, I believe they were in Greenbush, as well as a few other local ones. And they're at $1.85 an hour, so nearly $100 now, the last one. So I thought it would be worth it for the board to take a look at and see if, the changes may be in order.
So out of curiosity, with Ricky Noonan, are we under contract with them for a certain amount of time? Is it month to month? How are we?
What I understand, there is no contract with them. Yep, there is no contract with them.
Did we just go through this like a month or two ago? You guys brought them up and wanted them to reapply, and we all agreed that we're gonna use Rinkin, didn't we?
No, what we did was we asked what their hourly rate schedule was. We didn't ask them to apply, we didn't go through like the qualifications process or
It was
anything.
on the agenda when we.
Yeah, but there's 3 different rates for them, wasn't there? And
Yeah, depending on who you use.
yeah,
Depending on the experience, yep.
were we assuming Adam was the highest end, or were,
He
was he,
stated
where
he
did he
was.
come in at?
Yeah, he stated he was.
Okay.
According to our minutes that were unapproved, Ricky Newman will remain as township council. It does not say a period of time. Student motion to approve, Greg Anderson seconded, the motion carried unanimously. It does not give a timeline for reconsideration.
So it's 1 month, and now you guys are changing your mind.
No, this is just simply to ponder. I'm not making any motions, but just so that we know that, there are other options out there.
state of everything right now, I think we need to keep consistent. I think we got too much on our plate the way it is.
Motion's been made to retain Ricky Noonan. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Motion's made, seconded to retain Ricky Noonan as our attorney at least through the March election. Any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion's carried. We will retain Ricky Noonan. Any other follow-up on township contracts?
No, that's it.
Review residential recycling drop site.
Didn't we do this last month?
We expressed that additional recycling would be an asset to the community, and I think we kinda left it to the county to set their hours. I don't think I've heard anything, I don't think anybody's heard anything from the county since.
So as of right now, it's staying the same, correct? We're not adding any at the time being, everything's staying the same, we just
I remember
expressed.
the discussion last month, they wanted one more day a week,
Okay.
and that's what we discussed.
We did not want overnight.
Yeah.
But we, more or less authorized them to add one extra day. I don't know if they were informed of that decision.
Tim, can you take the decision back? Good, thank you.
Discuss establishing a policy for compensation and reimbursement of township officers. This has been brought up several times in the past.
We have a policy because of December, we had a policy meeting about fee schedules. We discussed that last month too, and here it is back on the agenda again.
Well, that would make sense, cause it's old business, we talked about it last month, so we moved to old business.
But I thought it was done.
I'm pretty sure it's discussed last month. Until December.
Okay, until December, okay. Next item would be discuss road maintenance contracts. I think we have got a proposal from Construction. And then we got any other,
Okay, with road maintenance contracts, with Steve gonna go through, do one more clearing of the, for winter, so we don't get the drifts, maybe, Bill, you know better on that?
I haven't discussed that with him yet.
Okay. Because we're gonna have to knock it down, or we're gonna have drifts everywhere.
Double.
We always do more twice, so we brush cut in the fall. The back slopes.
Road contracts,
If I may interject here, as far as road contracts and road maintenance. My name is Alan Roberts and I live over on County Road 1, just south of the cemetery. And a year or two ago, when they came through and widened the road, we were told by the county that we would get a nice gentle mowable ditch out of this whole project, as they took my entire front yard for their road project. And whoever has the road maintenance contract just came through and in 6-foot-high weeds ran down the center of it with a flail mower, and the rest of the grass is still 6 feet high.
that's county.
Is that county?
Yeah, that's county.
Well, then I apologize for even bringing it up.
going along with road maintenance contracts, this might be a good time to bring up. Our plow trucks, giving them once over, I don't know which direction we're going. If we're gonna contract it out, to be honest with you, you almost need to do it tonight. I'm booking up my snow stuff already for winter, as well as all my customers are booking stuff up tonight, or this month. Rugged Fleet out of Malacca, I called them, it's $95 a truck to DOT them. Shop rate was, I wanna say $110 an hour, and I had my sticky note that must have flew off. You know, to get the trucks up to par, you know, your roughly looking, you know, check the oil, or change the oils, check antifreeze, check and adjust tire pressures, grease them all up, make sure the lights are all working. I mean, ballpark in my head with getting them DOT'd and everything else, cause we gotta put the salt spreaders back on them, we're probably looking at $1,000 a pop, I would, and you might know better than I do what it takes to
We
get.
always did them ourselves here, so we
You know,
don't charge.
well, we don't
the
have any
township.
employees, so.
Yeah, I don't know why. We
I'm
always
just-
we didn't charge anybody for it, we just did. We didn't charge the township for it.
But, I mean, what's it take, you know, if we're paying you an hourly rate, it's probably gonna be a solid day.
You never.
But I mean, it'd be a solid day to get a truck up and going, right?
Probably not.
Well,
Maybe to put the sand running and spend more time.
but I mean, checking all the, I mean, DOT's gonna take an hour.
We can't DOT, so that's gotta go to.
Well, that's what I mean, I'm just trying to keep, you know, I called them, I figured it was a neutral party and, you know, I don't know, I mean, figure a solid day for working on each of them, and it probably doesn't need that, but by the time you pay for the oil, you pay for the grease, and the guy's time, I mean, it's probably a day a truck to get going, you know, whether or not all the lights work, mirrors, you know, stuff like that.
Everything should have pretty much been in shape after last week.
Well,
Like I
I
said,
mean,
we
it
always-
was July when I took the sanders off and washed all the salt out, so, you know, are they gonna be freed up? I don't know. I mean, it's
Should
been,
put that right after the
I
snow.
dumped,
You and I discussed that.
I mean, I dumped a bunch of used oil and stuff trying to, you know, save it,
That's what you gotta do.
so, I don't know, I mean, if we're gonna do something, I mean, you're either gonna commit to spending money, get the trucks back up to par, we're gonna have to hire it out, it's,
It's way cheaper to hire us to do it, to hire an employee to do it. Way cheaper.
but at the same time, you know,
By the hour, you hire a man by the hour versus hiring a
Yeah.
service by the hour. There's no comparison.
but we also don't have I mean, last year we lost an engine, did we lose a clutch, was it?
Yeah.
You know, and was it a rear end on one too?
There's no question transmission. But for years of free service before that, so you gotta break it down over the years, the same with the road guys.
How long have we had the trucks?
Mr. Whitcomb over here said that we spent $75,000 in 3 years, but he forgot to mention the fact that we've had many, many years before that with absolutely nothing but blades and tires, normal maintenance. So you can't say that it cost $25,000 a year. It did for maintenance. You gotta spread that out way back 10 or 15 years back when the machines were operating.
We haven't had them trucks that long.
The grader we've had for like 38 years.
Yeah, but not the truck.
No, the trucks we've had for 4 or 5 years. We bought those trucks for like $4,000 to $5,000.
Yep.
Those trucks owe us nothing. You can clean the trucks up and sell them and make money on them. Literally, make a profit on them. After using them for 4 or 5 years. And that's what we've been doing. We buy them from the DOT for practically nothing. We run them out here. We do good maintenance on them. A friend of mine was a DOT mechanic. We worked on them together in Princeton Township for it. I did all the service, you know, oils and filters and stuff like that. And when it comes time to sell them, we make money on them. We literally make a profit on them.
Connie's been doing that.
Connie's been doing that, absolutely. She is fantastic with that. So, it's much cheaper for the taxpayers to hire an operator by the hour. And I actually had a young fellow came after the posting went on, he came to the shop. And after he's been watching this mess on the internet the last couple months, he came today and he says, geez, I don't think I wanna work for you guys, and he kinda pulled it out. So, but he would've done it for $25 an hour, and he would've done everything. Plowing, grading.
So we do have a contract here that was submitted, from Dahlheimer Trucking that we can look at.
Is this for a service or for an operator?
This is for service.
You gonna look at one, Greg?
No, I have to, back up from that. Full deal.
So on the last page, I have a breakdown, because all I have is back to 2016 for financials. And we're into a 4-year average of $22,000 per year to run our equipment. So that's, wages, maintenance, repairs, salt, sand, fuel. And you'll see on the right-hand side in orange, bold, Dahlheimers. And those numbers that are represented are, you'll see down below that larger box, it says man hours are based on total hours charged through payroll to ice and snow removal throughout the year. And that looks like we've been paying payroll through the summer for ice and snow. I don't know if that's for unemployment or what, so. if we're just look at the hours that were spent during the winter when we had snow removal, it's down in the green area. So if you figure man hours, and you figure by the hour for Dahlheimer, those are the differences between.
What's the bottom line? What's he gonna charge for the season? Or is he gonna charge by the hour?
By the hour.
Okay. So you don't know what it's gonna
It's
cost?
right there. You have it.
So you don't know what it's gonna cost?
Well, can you tell me how much it's gonna snow this winter?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You know, a lot of places just tell you it's gonna cost you so much per year, and that's what it's gonna cost.
No,
I don't know
snow
if anybody does that.
contracts,
Yeah,
some
yeah, we
jobs are
talked
by
to
the
Lester,
hour,
said-
some are just a flat rate, and it's,
The guy we talked to last year said they do it by the season. He said if it's
every,
light snow.
every place is different.
Right.
We deal with 3 different contracts, we do by the hour, we do by the push, and we do by the contract, a contract rate, I mean, it's.
That's what we do in my business. We pay him, if it's a snowy winter, he loses. If it's a dry winter, I lose. We don't, there's no variables, it's what it is.
Mhm.
So it doesn't have to be by the hour, it can be a certain fee for the whole year. Then you know what you're buying.
I just know the last year we had issues where, a couple of years ago, when we went to church in Greenbush Township and already been plowed out. We came home from church and the roads hadn't been touched yet.
You know, Gene, when I moved into the township, they said 4 inches or 4 days. So we've been doing really good. It's never taken 4 days ever. And I think that's still on your building permit application today, it's maybe 3 days, but. So the township is doing very good with snow removal.
Brian, if you get stuck, do I have to push you out?
If I get stuck? If I get stuck, I get myself out.
I mean,
It's only fair to go by the hour on trucks. I don't know any township that does it by the season. Have you ever heard of that, Steve?
Nope.
I've never heard one township by the season.
And that's what we actually do in my business.
Well, that's a different type of business.
How long does it take to, well, the average go out of the township?
There really is no average, you know.
was it 8 hours with 2 trucks, I think I heard at one time?
Yeah, that's kind of what we figured on a good snowfall, 8 hours for 2 trucks. 8 hours with 2 trucks. And that's to go back and clean up the cul-de-sacs and all the piddly stuff afterwards. So,
If we just went by dollars and by the man hours, we're in 2016-17, it came out at about 140 hours for the season. And last year was as much as up to about 246 hours.
last year was a phenomenal year.
Yeah.
Brian, is these numbers submitted, is this with your own equipment,
Correct.
with the plow trucks?
That's my own trucks and my guys.
And your tractor?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's all my equipment.
okay, just wanted to clarify.
And then the other thing too, guys, I've done these roads for 20 years. I don't think I've had very few complaints over the years.
And your liability coverage would be sufficient to protect the township against
Oh yeah,
any issues?
yeah, you guys would never have any
Playing devil's
recourse
advocate.
back on that.
There should be a copy of it with the bid.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here. Steve, you're here. Were you planning on submitting a bid?
No, no, no,
I'm
not
just
for, not for
trying to,
snow, no.
so we're all fair, that's,
No.
in my honest opinion, like I said, we're booking up snow contracts already. My customers are booking up snow contracts, you gotta have it done by the end of the month, or I'm guaranteeing you're gonna go push somebody else next week.
Right.
You know,
Oh yeah,
it's-
when I leave here, I'm gonna go
You,
fill up my winter.
So if we just figure the hourly rate on just during the snow events, see, it's actually saved us over the last 3 years. $5,000.
Numbers don't work out to me. Be cheaper to hire somebody.
Oh, it's way cheaper. There's no comparison. No comparison. But the problem is they don't wanna be responsible. Gene, the road maintenance kind of.
Greg, we're not throwing anybody under the bus,
I'm
we're
not
trying
trying
to.
to, I'm explaining that over the last 23 years, that responsibility falls to the chairman to get the snowplows up and operating again. That's what we've done for 23 years of that. And Mr. Stoffel doesn't wanna do that, so that's why he wants to hire their service, because then it gets him off the hook of doing that, all that work, you know, the coordinating. It's kind of a job, it's kind of a job.
As I recall, last December, there was discussion of hiring a road manager, just to get the chairman out of that position last
Right.
fall. So, I mean, that's.
But it never went through, nobody decided to do it.
Right, but it
We
was,
decided specifically not to do that.
but it was proposed by the whole board, so.
It's just something to discuss,
So-
and in the discussion led to not doing it.
Okay, we're not moving on our agenda very quickly. What do we wanna do with the road, or the,
So, for clarification, okay, you do have the rates for salt and sand here, it's not just pushing roads.
I got one question on that one, if you don't mind.
Yes.
On roads, like putting that out to bid, has that been put in the paper for bid? For local people to bid on this?
That was my question too.
Why
So
not?
the state law should be advertised for 2 weeks,
Exactly.
an official newspaper.
It should be up in the paper for time period to let the local people bid on this position if it's available.
Minnesota state statutes.
I'm not saying anybody else is gonna be any cheaper, but I'm just saying to be legal on the board. Shouldn't that be done that way, just the same way as you find equipment?
At the last board meeting, we requested that the meet that went out, and it was all applications were supposed to be back in by September 10th.
No, you were advertising.
That was for road
grading.
grading.
I don't think you advertised for a service, bid, did you?
No, that was for this, it was for the snow.
Not for a service, it was for a road grader operator. Really? I don't remember seeing it anywhere.
I think that's what I'm saying, it didn't go out.
in that case, we need to table it till we,
Well,
advertise, post it.
to expedite the process, because, I mean, it's gonna be October before we get here. There ain't gonna be anybody putting bids in October, waiting for a November, yes or no. I mean, it can be snowing in November, and, yeah.
You still gotta follow state law.
I'm aware, but, I mean, to put it in the paper for the 2 weeks, we get the notification after the 2 weeks is done, has anybody else submitted? If nobody else submits, if somebody else submits, maybe we call a special meeting to decide.
Well, wouldn't you have to call a special meeting to decide either way? Even if nobody else submits, you gotta call a special meeting to approve it.
True.
So you gotta just plan a special meeting, period.
Yes.
That's how you expedite it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, sitting here till October, till the next meeting,
At the end of 2 weeks, when the paper's done and that, if you don't have anything or do have anything, you just do a special meeting in 3 weeks,
yeah.
and you're done.
If you're gonna do it, you should advertise for the operator position too. Hourly charge for an operator.
So 2 ads to the
You got
paper.
$250,000 worth of machinery sitting there, bought and paid for, doesn't cost a penny, why not use it?
Yeah, but then we gotta move to get the trucks up to par then too.
I'll tell you what, you bring it to my shop, I'll do it for free, like I've always done, how about that? If that's needed. I can't do the DOT, we can take them next door to the DOT, or I do actually have a mobile DOT guy that could come too. But, like I said, I've done that for the township for years.
So why don't we move the discussion to post position for operators and a position to
Contracts.
Yeah. for doing the snow removal. And then call a special meeting 3 weeks from today. Yep, so 3 weeks from today would be,
Well, how soon you gonna get it in the paper?
Yeah, can you get it published in time for 2 weeks? Probably not.
Yeah, it'll go out Friday, if you call them today, or tomorrow.
Well, you're not gonna call them today.
I mean, tomorrow.
And it'd be in the paper on Friday? Princeton paper don't come out on Friday. Comes out on Wednesday.
It comes out tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
so it'll be next week,
You gotta figure from
Is it gonna
next
be in the
week.
shopper? 'Cause
next
shopper comes
Wednesday.
out
I'm gonna
Sunday.
pick
But they don't advertise in the shop, they advertise in Princeton paper. That's all they advertise in this township is Princeton paper, so it won't come out until next Wednesday.
So it's gotta be 3 weeks from next Wednesday.
Right, a month away.
You might as well post the clerk position too.
So,
I'll move that we table discussion on the road maintenance contracts.
well, we're gonna have to do some, yeah, we're gonna have to post something, or we're gonna be caught with our pants down if we don't come up with an answer tonight. It's middle of September.
Maybe you guys should have been working on this a little bit earlier then.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Took them 3 months after this last snowfall to get the trucks cleaned.
It's the operator's
To
responsibility.
post on, for
What's that?
publication on the 2nd, 9th, and deadline of the 11th for applications. So we'll take this right into next month's meeting, so we're gonna have a special meeting.
Be honest with you, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I mean, if we're gonna plan on. Brian, you're gonna be booked up by mid-October. You don't get an answer.
We're working
tonight,
on it.
you?
I mean, we still got openings.
You know what I mean, though.
Oh, right, by.
You can't make a decision without
You
posting.
guys think-
Well, no, I'm aware of that, but I'm just trying to, you know, if we're gonna push it all, if it's gonna go till next month's meeting, we're caught with our pants down, and we're sitting there with, you know, we're gonna,
Hiring an operator to run your own equipment.
that's where we're gonna be at.
Wouldn't that be terrible? That's what we've done for all these years and it worked wonderful.
Well, I'm
It's
just saying, it's, because if I was in Brian or Steve's shoes, I wouldn't wanna be sitting here in September hoping I'm gonna get an answer in a month. You know, cause I'm booking my stuff up already.
I will move that we table this until the, October 15th meeting, and post for the 2nd, 9th with deadline for, bids by the 11th. I don't think we have much more choice. That's my motion.
What is the October meeting?
15th.
Shouldn't have any weather problem by then, unless you get them.
Well, no.
Even though Halloween blizzard was the worst in the world, was 2 weeks later.
You could also use the Mille Lacs County website, contact Mille Lacs County and ask them to help put up the jobs there too. So you could get it posted by the end of this week on their website, which almost every government entity is moving to internet. So you could get them posted up, still send it to the paper, and you'd still have it up by, as long as you sent it in tomorrow, up and going.
So we can send it to the county.
Yep.
But the newspaper is the authorized site, so you can't start any time frame until that newspaper comes out.
Yep.
For this, we could have it paid for the 2nd.
So, is
No,
that,
not the second.
Why not the 25th?
Yeah, the next.
Next Wednesday.
Next one, Chairman, Tim Henniger, Union Times, what I suggest you do tomorrow morning is immediately, I'll put you in touch with our legals person that handles all of this stuff out of Cambridge. She'll get your deadline straight and everything, but I suggest you call her tomorrow immediately about your posting requirements. If Union Times is your legal newspaper, is it?
Yes.
Okay, then call her immediately. If you've got a concern that you gotta get this posted, they're gonna work with you to get it in there, it needs to go.
do you have a contact name?
Yeah, Tony, Gene, I'll get with you. In fact, I'll get a hold of her tonight and tell her that you guys need to talk to her right away about the posting.
But you can still never get it after tomorrow.
No, she cannot, because the paper's already produced, it's done.
So you're done for the week anyway.
Yeah.
But it could be posted by the
My
25th.
motion
Yes.
Yeah.
is that we post for publication on the 2nd, 9th, deadline by the 11th. And
No, the 25th.
11th, my motion, if somebody wants to second? Not, no, the motion fails, is there a second, is there a different motion?
Make a motion to get it posted to the paper by September 25th. And close it on the night. And then,
Still to be acted on the 15th?
yeah. Yeah.
Is there a second?
I would second that.
Motion made and seconded to post on the 25th and second, deadline 9th, and finalize on the 15th. Is there any further discussion on road maintenance contract?
And this was for the plowing contracts, in addition to employees willing to plow with our equipment, correct?
And a secretary.
Are you, yeah, are you posting the clerk's position
Yes.
too? or-
There'd be all three
Well, I think
things.
there should be separate postings, but I think.
Yeah, I know, is it all part of the motion? I kinda
Yeah.
lost the motion.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get some clarification, we haven't
That's in
voted
your
on it yet.
business.
Motion before us right now is to post for road maintenance contracts for
Plowing
either
position.
plowing contract or plowing employee. Posting on the 25th and second, deadline's 9th, and acted upon on the 15th. It's completely separate from clerk treasurer. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Any further discussion on road maintenance contracts? If not, road report?
We done anything with County Line Road at all?
Just some potholes this spring. We did some, reviewed the minimum maintenance road, Afton Road, all the landowners. Followed up with an item where there was a stop sign being blocked by trees that has been removed, those trees have been removed. Followed up with the homeowner to replace a fire number sign that was knocked over by the plows last winter. Trimmed some of the trees at Afton so that the grader can get through and maintain that, put some rock down. That's pretty much it for that. I've also put out, the road meter on 33rd for traffic counts. There's some information on the, pass that down. I'm just gonna hand out the whole packet. Here, put this one down. That packet, sorry. So, currently we're at about 141 average ADT for that road. I was planning on keeping it out there through next Sunday. We've got some, the next page discusses, I called WSB. They would have charged about $1,000 to do that work, so I'm doing that at no charge, so saving the township $1,000 there.
Green Moose, if you ever need to know, Green Moose has got one we can use for free too.
That's what I'm using.
But they volunteered that to us years ago.
And then, I also got, just, this is a real rough estimate for, this is for the borings, if we need to do borings along 33rd and 82nd. Depending on how many they do, up to 8, it's gonna be about $5,500 to move forward with engineering on that kind of things. I don't think we're gonna need 8 though. I'm thinking maybe 4 is probably all it is, maybe 4 or 5. So that's where we're at with that information.
Any further discussion on road report?
We will be getting, be working with Steve on gravel for this next month to wrap it all up here by, hopefully by the end of the month. So the roads have time to settle down before winter. And that's all I had for that.
We ditch mow, are we mowing ditches, are we brush clearing? Is that?
That's, I talked with, Thomas about it earlier.
That's me.
Not Thomas, Lundin, who was mowing earlier, so he's gonna, I need to get in touch with him and Steve. Do some more brush clearing.
What's the hourly rate for that? What do we charge per hour?
125, I believe it is.
Does that sound right, 125?
Yeah, it's 125 for whom more.
We got a nice mower sitting here, we can hire a guy for $20 an hour.
Any more discussion on road report? We had to add one item, inadvertently was left off. This was a land split that took place, we thought about 2010 or 2012. It was never recorded, so it was approved again in March, but the final, you were asking for us to do a final tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct. So you have the deed, I've got the original deeds with me, the quitclaim deeds. The road easement's been recorded already. In your file, you've got copies of the surveys and the descriptions for the parcels. So I'm asking that I either read the quitclaim deeds with you for stamping now, or send them up, or whatever way you wanna handle it. We're trying to record right after October 15th when taxes are paid. This was in the area where, excuse me, there was some gaps and overlaps, and the surveyor took care of getting that surveyed out so that land could be conveyed to the properties to the north and remove the gaps and overlaps and have a smooth transition for the boundaries.
For the notes here, what was your name?
Paul Dove, D-O-V-E.
And who were you representing?
Well, I'm here on behalf of a title guarantee company that's taking care of getting this corrected, and the parcel that we're talking about is the Glenn family, Glenn Jack ownership, and the property is conveying to Taylor Gillespie and Rosemary Juare as guarantees for the properties to the north.
It's not in here,
Okay.
It was approved and passed by, I think it was last March.
Yeah, I was here for a meeting, I believe in March, and then there was the second meeting, the commissioners approved it in June, right? And then I got confirmation that the deed had been recorded by Connie. So that was in July, I believe. That's the easement for the road. So everything is completed except for the stamping of the deed so that we can send it to the recorder after October 15th.
Let's go from here.
So it's been passed the planning commission. It's been approved by the board.
Years ago.
Okay. Years ago, last year, I heard last year you were here.
No,
March and
there was somebody else handling it at that time, and then what happened was somehow it got lost in the mix and they never got the deeds recorded within the 60-day period for recording. And they never got the road easement completed, and so I redid the road easement and that's been recorded, and then we had the quitclaim deeds re-executed.
Okay.
With the surveyor description, then I had a new description from the surveyor as to the remaining parcel, because that will then change with what was gonna do into the two adjoining parcels.
Okay.
So all that's in the file.
Okay. So everything's kosher then?
Correct.
Okay. And it already been processed on our end, on the clerk's end, correct? Or it's been recorded, I mean.
It has not been recorded, the deeds have not been recorded, they have to be stamped.
Okay, you recorded the easement, okay, okay. I'm just trying to,
Yeah,
So you're looking for a town board approval of that lot split?
correct. board approval with the stamping of the deeds. A lot's good.
So we have not reviewed that, that is something that was not, we were not made aware of. You know, you could take that action tonight to make a motion, a second for approval of that, but if you wanna wait and have our office look at it and act on your October 15th, if that's.
Sure.
Should we wait till the 15th of October?
I think, yes,
Pardon?
about October 15th.
Could we wait till the October 15th meeting to do the final approval?
Running through the planning or not the planning company, sorry.
I think so.
Okay. I'm just trying to cover the bases, you know, make sure we're not missing anything.
So
We're
should
not
I be
stamping
submitting
something we're not. I'm sorry?
Should we be submitting something else now?
What I would have you do is probably just get in touch with Scott.
Yeah, just so you could email me the information, so we.
That way, the board's covered, the planning commission's covered. That way, we're not missing anything, so you come back another 60 days from now, oh, we missed this thing. That's why Scott's right.
It's a possibility that we may wanna run it through the planning commission again too, but I, again, have no background with this matter, so we should be in contact.
Okay, so I can get a card? from you?
Yeah, that's right.
And I think you have a complete file here. Connie's pretty good about it.
Yeah, Connie probably should have a file here, so.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
We'll move on to new business, North Oaks land split. Approved by the planning commission. You have a note from.
Right, there should be a memo, that you, have received, that, talks about the planning commission at their September 9th meeting, vote to recommend the sketch plan and preliminary plat. Here's acting on the preliminary plat tonight. It's just 2 lots on a total of 3.61 acres. It meets all the requirements of the R1 zoning. Planning commission really didn't have a lot of comments about it, and they recommended with the conditions that you'll find in my September 10th report. Any questions?
It was approved by the planning commission, sent to us for final approval.
And they have resolved, there is some lot gaps, discrepancies and so forth, that's all been met. We've received confirmation from them that's been taken care of. The applicants have talked to the county engineer about the access. There is a street to the west, 16th Street, that's in Princeton, the city of Princeton. They show right away that goes up to the westerly edge of this property. But I believe the planning commission and the residents were there, it's indicated there's no intent for this property to be annexed. And if for some reason, if it is annexed and the city wants to put that street through, there's probably more than adequate space for the setbacks to be met under the city requirements. But again, that's nothing that we're dealing with tonight, and that's not part of it. And just wondering,
All the encroachments have been dealt with.
you know, we could have Craig talk about the encroachments. I believe all that has pretty much been resolved. There was a couple building encroachments that were on the property.
Yep. So the neighbors, well, part of the encroachment is a structure that's on a subject property that's being subdivided, and that structure is dilapidated and will be removed. The applicant, the developer, Nate Cook, behind me, is proposing to wait till vegetation, dies and leaves drop, so he doesn't run up too much stuff this fall to go in and demolish that building. And then there's a small utility building, that was a couple feet over the line that the landowner is working on moving at the moment. He's already started moving stuff out of the building, and it should be out of there before final plat, comes to the county, or to the town board.
Which piece of property is this then? I didn't get any maps or plats or anything.
Yeah, there's, it's
Describe
north,
to me where it's at.
it's kind of by the school, right?
This is the property right across.
Just started school, yeah, they moved the 30-mile-an-hour speed zone just north of there.
Yep. I know it is.
So you're talking just north of the new school there?
No, west across the road.
Kind of across the
North
north.
of that.
Yeah, west across the road and then, Dale Anderson and north.
Okay.
They've done a hollow right there, and
Yep,
the house, a nice shop.
Yep.
And they're north.
Okay. Where it's just kind of,
It's wooded.
yeah.
The city is in the back.
Okay.
It's on the other side of the road again.
Okay.
It's back on the east side of the road.
Okay.
Any discussion? Any questions?
So what you're looking for is a motion, to approve the
Motion to approve the lens flip.
the preliminary plat. With the conditions that are in,
Right, and yours and,
I would make that motion if it's good with you guys, if you've been through it, you're the professionals. Alright.
motion's been made to approve the preliminary. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded, any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Next item is the Hammer land split, Jeff, and the Hammer. 70th, up in the Princeton Township, northwest corner. 90.
yeah, there's, just a change to the lot, configuration, on this plat. Previously, a portion of it was adjacent to Highway 169, and they're just moving that so that the lot split, parcel A to parcel B, is actually the west branch of the river, will be the new configuration. 65th Street, there'll be access for parcel B, and on 70th Street, access for parcel A. It meets all the requirements. Parcel A of 92 acres, parcel B of 96 acres, so it qualifies as a land split. But the town board still needs to take action on it, and the planning commission will take a look at it and approve it also. So they're just moving lines within the parcels.
So we're not actually doing a land split, we're just moving.
You're just moving the line, yeah, but it's called
Boundary line?
boundary line adjustment.
By your motion?
Just quick question, I'm sorry, I forget your name, sir, was this the one that we had issues with?
Oh, no,
Okay,
oh,
okay, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I just know we had issues last month, and I just, wanna make sure we got everything before, sorry.
By your motion?
I just had a question, is it typical to run a split down the river that would change?
Again, Craig and I, the surveyor and I, or at least I've talked to Craig about this particular situation also. This is a different surveyor. Yeah.
We're actually buying a piece of property like
This
this,
is Hammer.
and we're using that for border fences. And according to the surveyors and everybody, they said they're fine. Don't know how you could, cause it's gonna change, yeah.
It will change, but that's just the way.
So this isn't surveyed in then, it shifts and
I'm not
shifts,
sure if
acres
it's
can
surveyed,
change.
but yeah, the natural water courses are commonly used as boundaries. As long as they naturally change, yes. But obviously, you want the ownership to change, because you want to divide at the river. And if there's an event, an unusual event, like also the river just, a flood comes and cuts a new channel, the ownership will stay in the previous channel, but naturally, the boundary will adjust. And so our dimensions go to the river plus or minus.
Mr. Mace?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm Bob, Bob Minks, I'm representing the Hammers. Excuse me, let me get the water quick. And I'm helping them with this process and, talking with Mike Trump, the surveyor, that was the first question that came up, can we follow the river? And he says, absolutely. So that's the reason, and now we have, the way it's currently set up, if the Hammers were to sell each parcel individually, they would not have access to the east side of the river on the part that, the larger parcel. By moving this, then they have access either from 70th or 65th, depending which side of the river they're on.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Motion's been approved, or made to approve the land split. Is it second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve the land split. Any further discussion? Any questions? If not, we'll we'll proceed to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed no, motion carried. Employee reviews.
Mr. Chair, did you wanna take care of, as long as we have
Oh,
applicants,
yes.
do you wanna take care of Silver Lake Pines?
Silver Lake,
Silver Lake Pines. This is a matter that you, heard at your last meeting. The planning commission had recommended approval of it. The issue did come up with, encroachment, of a property. Mr. Oswald is here, this evening, and, the applicants have come to an agreement with the Oswalds, it's my understanding, at least I have the paperwork with your signatures that show that there will be a conveyance of a portion of lot 6. All the lots still meet the requirements, so Mr. Oswald's getting additional property. The lot 6 will meet the requirements as well as all the others, so the issue hasn't been resolved to everyone's satisfaction. But there is a recommendation that this move forward with the conditions in my report, and so it's just a approval of the preliminary plat.
Do I hear a motion?
To approve the plat.
Motion's been made to approve the plan, is there a second?
I would second it.
Motion made and seconded, is there any discussion?
Yeah, well, there was a discussion about cul-de-sacs. You guys were pushing for cul-de-sacs to be taken off of the list of that. You guys ever put cul-de-sacs in?
No, cul-de-sac.
Okay.
It's 6 straight lots right into county road.
Remember, these guys had some emergency that they needed to get that moratorium lifted, but they didn't materialize it. So anyway, that's all my questions. Yeah, exactly.
Any further discussion? Now we'll proceed to vote, all in favor of, approving Silver Lakes Pines plat, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. We will move to employee reviews.
And there's employees left.
But at the same time, do we have,
Oh, I think that you got Ken.
well, do we have a thing in place that we review them once a year? I don't, I mean,
It's, yeah, we do, yes. Comes up in December with our pay and all that stuff.
yeah, what I'm trying to, let me back up. I don't, do we have a list of who our plow truck drivers are that all the board members know? Do we have, I mean, for the life of me, I don't even know who our road grader was.
Wayne Baker was there for 31 years.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but I mean, had we ever?
Yeah, there was always a list published, yes. It was, yeah, it was always available on the sheet that we mail out every year. So we don't have any snowplow operators left out there.
Well, yeah, it's
Who does the employee reviews?
We do as a board.
We have never done an employee review, all we've done is review the pay. We've never actually done an employee review where we.
Yeah, I think we had years ago, we had some issues, and those are supposed to be held at a closed meeting, so. And that's why Mr. Woolman made the point that that should have never been brought up at your budget meeting, because you guys are critiquing the employment of the employee that has been done at a budget meeting.
So do we, I mean, obviously, you know, we got Kenny left, but do we need to put something on the books that we're gonna, every December, we have an employee review with everybody with performance and a closed meeting? Is that,
That's where you have to discuss it.
I mean, is that a little more?
It doesn't matter to me, because if there's not an issue, I discuss it. If you got a complaint or an issue, then you set a meeting and you discuss it.
I disagree with that.
I know you would, but see, I run a business, and why do you complicate everything in the world, make everything sticklers? If everything is working like clockwork, why disrupt it? If you have an issue, then you get it.
No, you deal with it if we have an annual review, an employee review isn't necessarily have anything to do with a disciplinary issue.
No, I understand that.
So I'm not making it one. I have employees that work for me, and I have to do an employee
You
review.
work for this company.
Yeah, exactly. And I have employees.
You
Yeah,
hired somebody.
yeah, exactly. hired a lot of people. Okay. We do recruitment, we recruit at the colleges, we recruit at the tech schools. We do employee reviews, I have employee reviews. This is something we do every year. We have position descriptions, making sure that we're offering the employee what they need, and if there's anything in reciprocated that they need from us or we need from them, that's the time to deal with it. We don't wait until it gets out of hand. I don't know any company that doesn't do employee reviews. Well, I'm talking a real company.
I've been with the company for 30 years and I've never had an employee review.
Really?
Yeah, 30 years.
I've been there 40, I've never had to do it.
Well, we're a government, this is a township.
This is Princeton Township, one employee.
30 years.
So,
One employee, it's not a big deal.
well, obviously it is.
This might be to you, but you know, everybody's got along perfectly, and everything is working wonderfully. And now there's a problem.
So, it's something that Thomas has brought up, I've brought it up before, I think Dave has brought it up in the past, because coming onto this board, I didn't even know I didn't know who the grader operator was, I didn't know our snowplow operators.
It's in our little report.
I've never met him. Even to this day, I've never met him, even face to face.
No, but you badmouthed him enough where he quit.
No, that's not true.
Exactly true. Exactly true.
Quitting is a choice.
So,
Quitting is a choice. Being pushed
Right.
out of a position is
Right.
another thing. And
Right.
you are trying to say they were pushed out. They
Dwayne
made
was
a choice to
assaulted.
leave
Dwayne was
and not
assaulted
fight
and
the
killed.
fight.
And so did Connie.
They chose to leave and not fight
Absolutely.
the fight.
Yeah.
So
I
this
don't
is
know
not on
any-
anybody but
any
Connie and that
employee-
road grader.
You know, any employee in the world that has to have the sheriff called here
And
3
Connie
times.
should be here fighting her own fight.
No.
Really?
She's the employee, not you.
Weren't you the other one that the law enforcement got called on?
No,
Or
No,
calling
that was
on?
one
no,
back there.
sorry.
Oh, really? Okay,
Pick someone
excuse me,
else.
but,
so I would like to make a motion that we move in the direction of, position descriptions, performance reviews, annually or whenever we need to call them. And just be that we make that move.
I second it, cause I've had employee reviews every year.
Yeah.
Since I've been employed with municipal utility.
It's not a negative at all.
No, it's not.
In fact, I
I second
talked
the
to
motion.
Kenny about it, and he said he would love to have an employee review.
Is there any further discussion? We have a motion before us to have an annual employee review. Is there any further discussion?
It was annual or whenever you
Or whatever.
along with position descriptions defined.
That we.
Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no?
No.
Motion's carried. Clerk treasurer position, it would be nice to have somebody in place to keep the store open until we can,
It's another position you have to post.
right, so we can.
Temporary. Did you speak with?
Temporary, talking to MAT, they said we can be pretty free and easy with the way we do it to get this open again. We do not have to have the town office open except during filing times. But he said,
You get it shut until you post it and do it properly. We call you.
we're getting a lot of people that are looking for building permits and whatever, and it's,
How many we had?
probably had 5 in the last 2 weeks.
And you dealt with?
Mhm. Right now I'm sending to City Hall.
City Hall. Or,
Building inspector, she's sending it to the building inspector. But there's other issues there, the people that were in here tonight, they're trying to find something. It would be nice to have some, and we also do not pay bills until we have at least a temporary treasurer in place. What's your pleasure? Do we wait until 15th to hire somebody?
I guess we have to, a way to find who's out there that's willing to fill the position or interested in
Who's
the
qualified?
position.
Who's important? Who's qualified? So we could have
somebody you can hire temporarily?
They've got 3 people that would come in and train and sit with.
Well, it has to be posted, in order to do it, you have to post it, I think that's where it needs to. If the MAT can send somebody here, man the office 1 day a week or something, and then you need to find somebody that's qualified to take the position, because that's not a simple job. That's a big job.
That handout that I have, I pulled some township job descriptions together on the front page. Just as an example. On the top there. Here you go.
So before we get too far, I'm assuming the computers are password protected? Do we have passwords? What's that? Okay. And the reason I'm asking, it makes no sense to hire someone if we can't even get any computers, so.
So the question is, do we put somebody in there temporarily until the posting? We haven't discussed the, we haven't made a motion on posting yet.
I think it's something that has to be posted. Somebody qualified. You can't let just anybody in here, you have access to the computers and the files that you know nothing about.
So we're basically gonna be going on 2 months and not paying any bills, is that what you're saying?
Or maybe you need to get the MAT to send somebody here to do that.
Well, no, I'm just trying to
I would
feel it
put
out.
that in motion if that's what you want. Post it, and I would call the MAT and see if they've got one person we can hire for a day, a week, to be here and get the paperwork done, or Joe can.
Okay.
That's a motion, then we can proceed with posting it and hiring somebody that's qualified. We need to trust, deal with a lot of important stuff, a lot of money.
Motion's been made to, include holding off till the 15th.
Well, until the next meeting, yeah,
Yeah.
if you can,
So-
so we can get posted, and we said posting's at 1/5, correct?
And
Yep.
try to hire somebody from MAT to do 1 day a week.
Yeah, somebody who's experienced and has a bond, personal bond, to make sure they're not gonna be robbing us.
Second?
We're gonna coincide this with the 9th, 25th to the 9th, acting on the 15th meeting.
That's my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to the clerk treasurer position to post it on the 25th. And the second. Deadline by the 9th and select on the 15th. Is there any further discussion?
Will we
I have a
have
question.
any,
The company that I work for, every once in a while we have to send stuff here. Who do I email it to?
That's our chairman.
Chairman or town hall, the township.
Okay, cause I just had Connie's
I
email.
should email them my name.
Okay, I'll do that after.
so are we gonna have anybody here, we've had deputy clerks in the past, we gonna have anybody here during that time, all in the next 2 weeks, other than somebody from Matt?
Your pleasure. Right now, the motion is to not.
Post it and hire a temporary position through MAT, she gets to be qualified and bonded to be here with all the sensitive materials and money. And post it and hopefully have an applicant by the next meeting.
Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll try and make a motion, or repeat the motion. The motion is to advertise clerk treasurer position on the 25th and second. Deadline for application by the 9th. We will act on the 15th. And until that time, we will attempt to hire an MAT qualified person for 1 day discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion's carried.
So Gene, you're gonna try to get applicants, and then they're gonna show up at the town board meeting, and then you're gonna take action without a criminal background check, no reference checks, no process, they're just gonna show up? That's how you're gonna hire a clerk treasurer?
We haven't had in the past.
You're gonna get the applications in
On the ninth.
on the 9th.
We can review them.
How long does it take to do a criminal background check, Sheriff?
3 days.
3 days?
You know, that'd be pretty quick. 3 days would be quick, depends on how extensive you're gonna get. It could take weeks.
You would need to probably do up to an FBI level background check, which could be up to 30 days, pending how long. That would be a good. That's usually what most government agencies do.
Just have to have a temporary affairs long meeting.
When we get ours done for the DNR firearm auction, it takes about 2 weeks to get them back to the federal one.
Any further discussion with the clerk treasurer position? The motion was passed, I believe. So we will proceed, then on the 9th or the 15th, we will tentatively, I should say tentatively hire someone. Probably have to wait until we get our background check completed, before we can officially hire. Any further discussion on all new business? We'll move on to zoning administrator report.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, the planning commission met on September 9th. They had made those recommendations that you acted on tonight related to North Oaks and to the Hammer split. We also had a discussion on event venues, barn venues, agritourism. I had drafted some language with some amendments to the ordinance that the planning commission had a lot of good input on, and I'm coming forward with some changes to that recommendation, and we'll see where the planning commission wants to go at their October meeting. We also had a just brief discussion on solar farms and the solar applications at individual properties, and I'm putting together a draft for the planning commission to look at the October meeting. In the transition time, while you do not have a clerk, I can put together the agenda for the meeting. Hopefully I've got everyone's emails and try to get all that new information out to them and be prepared then for this for the October 15th. But it'll be for the planning commission.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, for the October 7th planning commission meeting. And I assume one of the town board members will be there that night to let us all in. And since I don't have keys to the facility, obviously. And another so just talk amongst yourselves as far as having someone there that evening so we can have access to the facility. Also, if there's any questions that come up related to zoning, land splits, whatever, Gene, just you'll be the contact person. Just let me know. Refer them to me like Connie would, and I can help you out with that. So that's it.
Hey, open forum.
For open forum, if you talk, you can state your name for the records.
Bonnie Nelson.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Bonnie Nelson. I just have one question. In reading the minutes that were recorded, who is Nicholas Taylor?
That would be me. I was volunteering to try and get something together for the meeting tonight.
And your role you live in our township and...
I'm the one that's been recording this with my wife, with the video through Facebook.
Okay, so you don't actually live in the township at all?
I do not. I live in the city.
Okay. Thanks.
We've actually, the city of Princeton has used our videos also to record their minutes or make clarifications.
When the clerk's not available.
When the clerk's not available.
I'm sorry, could you state your name?
Oh, Andrea Dredd.
And Nicholas Taylor.
I'm Mark Wilhelm. I farm down the road here. And I was a supervisor here for well over a decade. Where is your budget process at? Is that completed? Approved?
It was approved last month at the continuation of the annual meeting.
Okay. But it's my understanding that two of you put that together, which totally violates the open meeting law, which should make it invalid. And as well as that, you also, in your wisdom, took out funding for the 4-H kids under the Mille Lacs Ag Society.
Historical Society, Ag Society, and Family Path.
Yeah, what was the thought process there? I thought, this is a township for the people, by the people, and you're taking out funding for kids?
If I can respond to that.
Well, go ahead.
The MAT has for years discouraged townships from giving money to charitable organizations because they feel it's more proper for the citizens to give that money where they want to rather than being taxed and have their tax money go to something they may not agree with.
Citizens voted on that.
But still
The
the
citizens
annual
voted
meeting.
on that at the annual meeting.
Pardon?
The citizens voted on that at the annual meeting.
And it was done. They got the money.
But you just took it away.
You just took it away.
For next year.
Why?
Because the MAT has discouraged the use of tax money.
So
to-
was the MAT.
What's that?
Minnesota
Association of
South.
Townships.
And that's not true. We've talked to them over the years. They said that's entirely up to the annual meeting and the board at their discretion whether to give out donations or not. And we've had that discussion in several meetings, and everybody, every year, emphatically, the people wanna give that money to their organizations.
That's not true. We had to have them raise their hands to do it, it was almost split even. That was it, emphatic.
Every year, we voted to do it. And you two, sitting at your kitchen table, decided that was a good thing.
We got the budget 3 days before the annual meeting.
I got it 5 minutes.
And it was, all the numbers were zero.
I got it 5 minutes before the meeting.
Past years, it's always come to us with numbers filled in by you and Connie.
It's always done right here at the board meeting. Mr. Williams on the board, maybe he could answer. Did we ever take our budget home?
In my tenure here, that budget was always done by the board at a special meeting that was open to the public and was done line item by line item. And you tell me which township and what government agency, what county, or what state doesn't do it that way.
It was
Tell me.
never done that way since I've been on the board.
Yes, it was.
It's always been a completed, it's showing up as all the numbers were filled in. We've been able to adjust, same as the township did. Any of the people that came here, last month at the meeting, the continuation of the annual
My
meeting.
2 years, it's already been pre-filled.
These numbers weren't locked in, this was just something we had to come up with within just a few days.
It was just a proposal.
We had it
did
here
not-
5 minutes before. Who had a chance to discuss or figure anything? Did anybody get a chance to look at it before you guys voted on it?
It should have been gone over line item by line item. That's what we did.
It never was in the last 12 years I've been on the board.
Absolutely.
You're wrong,
Never
Gene.
done this building.
We always did it that way.
No, it's never been
I've
gone
been
through
here
line
in
by
the
line.
township government for over 30 years. We've always done it that way.
It's always been completed,
We do a
sent to
lot of
us,
stuff
sent to
like
us
that.
with all the numbers in place.
Well, you better start doing it right.
Everything we do, we've always done it this way for 20 years, that's what I keep hearing.
We've done it. These folks were here. They were all involved. They all know. Tom? Okay. Tim? What, Mark?
Yeah.
Mark
We had a
was
special meeting for that.
John Roxbury? So everybody here's lying but you, Gino.
So,
I've never been to a special
I-
meeting for budget.
We have our budget meeting every year. And we sit down right here, at the same meeting we were at.
In the
And I
2
walked
years that
in
I've
the
been on
budget.
the board,
sitting
I've
in front of
never, everything I've been
me.
handed
I
out.
don't think you were here at the last budget meeting, were you?
No.
Yes, we did. We have one every year. It's a continuation of the annual meeting. We have a budget meeting every year where we do the budget. We don't do it at our kitchen tables and bring it here 5 minutes before, so everybody gets to look at it for 5 seconds. And I said that publicly. How is anybody gonna look at this and make a decision?
The last couple of years, Mr. Riverblood has made a comment and commended Connie and you for doing a great job in making.
All we do is lay out the numbers. You guys put them in on the sheet. We did nothing. We did nothing.
Done exactly the same way except by different people.
And in your house. That's
Well,
not right.
Here's the problem, we can't get into the building because nobody gives us access.
That was the most unethical thing I've ever heard of a government agency doing. That was the most unethical. Because I don't need to talk to them, I know what's right and I know what's wrong. You guys doing the budget at home and bringing it here 5 minutes before the meeting is wrong. Is there anybody else in the audience that thinks it's the same thing?
It's unfortunate that it had to be that way, but it was, when it came with all zeros, somebody had to do something.
Yeah, you should have brought it to the meeting.
We had a half-hour meeting, we had a half-hour.
Then we should have got the information to the people and maybe postponed it for a couple weeks. Everybody could have had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, the continuation of the annual meeting has to be.
You should have done something, because nobody had any information.
Number one, it's not all zeros, because you've got the actual
all
budget
zeros?
from the previous year,
Exactly.
and
It
those
was
are the
all
numbers
zeros.
you work off of.
If you had seen it, it was all zeros. That's what we
It's
got in the
right-
mail
No, it's not.
3 days before the
Use the
meeting.
previous years.
This is supposed to be open forum, go ahead. Anybody else?
So
Name,
was the
sorry.
budget,
Would you say,
oh, I'm
state your
sorry,
name for the
Terry,
records?
Terry Thornton. Was the budget not brought here and presented with the paperwork, with the numbers in it, and given to the people to look at?
No.
5 minutes before the meeting, I got to see it.
I got
And I'm a board member. I should have been involved in every one of those decisions, and so should have this person, and so should have done you. Not just these two.
This scribbly, this scribbly, this is
But-
what
We
it
were
looked
put in
like.
a situation where we were handed a blank budget.
You had
We
last
So
year.
if they were-
we can't have a special meeting without multiple, without a 4-day
Yeah.
notice.
Right.
It was handed to him 4 days before our
See, they-
annual meeting.
Is this what
You
you're
had
talking
no
about, the
business
zero
doing that. You should have
proposed?
figured out something different.
Oh, tell me then, what should we figure out?
You had last year's
We
budget.
had last year's budget, last year's actual numbers.
They didn't do it here. Nobody here got to see any of it.
We voted,
They got,
Hired people.
this is what
they
they
got
got,
a blank sheet.
this is what they got. This is what, this came from the meeting.
Yeah.
That's their writing.
They had a sheet to start with.
And
When he says it was zeros, that's not true, because they took last year, and I have
That's
it
why
right
I'm
here, I can
asking
show you.
what they
They
got.
took last year's budget and started writing in their handwriting over the top of last year's budget. So for them to say that it was all zero is not right, because I have a copy of it from last month's meeting. Last year's budget, with everything they changed, handwritten on last year's budget. So, there was nothing zero, this is it.
2020
just
budget,
looked at,
so
Terry.
zeros all the way down.
No, this is it right here. You worked off of of course it was zeros, it wasn't done at the meeting.
Working on the budget.
Of course it was zeros. Good
It's
grief.
been done by you.
No, it has not.
Yes, it has, otherwise they wouldn't have commended you two for doing a great job on the budget. I found the letter in the file over there.
You are full of crap, Gene. Nobody ever did anything at a kitchen table ever before you and Bill.
Gene,
Just stand thinking about resigning, for God's sake. That's the most unethical thing I've ever heard.
Doug Henson.
Doug Henson?
Henson. Okay, you say the budget was 5 minutes ahead of time.
That's what I saw.
You talked over it. Who approved it at the end of the day? All of you, correct?
No, no, no,
No.
no,
They tabled it.
that's, I would like to see in the minutes, cause there were several, or I don't know how many people were here, there were several of us who voted against.
Right.
Then the budget
But they
isn't settled
counted,
yet.
they counted
But-
who voted.
They did a
Yes,
hand
but
count
the count isn't in here though, it
But the
isn't in the
budget is not
minutes.
settled yet.
But
They did not approve it, it's not settled.
It was approved.
It was
Then it's
approved
approved.
by a vote of hands, or
Then
a
it should
show of
not have been
hands.
approved if you got arguments.
I'm
Correct.
I'm siding with you.
If you got arguments, you should have had that taken care of before you approved it. Who's gonna
voted
second
against
it?
it,
Who's
because
gonna
I
say
didn't think it was
aye,
proper.
unless you prove it?
I voted no.
All these people were not
it's
here,
so
all,
good.
my name's Cindy McDonald, all these people were not here for that budget.
I was.
This
I
room
was
is
here.
full because
I
people
was
are
here and
angry.
I voted no.
I'm saying some of you were, but all of these people that should be here every single meeting do not come.
But
Start
the
coming and
board
then you can
approved the
complain.
budget, not us
No, it was
people.
not the board.
No,
Show
you
up.
guys,
No,
approved. You guys approved.
It was a
People approved
continuation.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
Yes,
thought
the
before, that's
people-
why I asked, who approved it? The
No,
board?
the people
or the
vote
people?
to approve.
And made adjustments.
So it got approved by the
And made
people.
adjustments.
I don't know,
That should have gotten
but the
written.
board does not approve it, the people approve it.
Okay, well, that's what I asked. originally.
Yes.
Who approved it? It was the board or it was the people? And they said it was approved by the, I assume you said board, well, if it's by the people, it's totally different.
It is.
Evidently, they understood it.
No, they didn't, nobody even asked any questions, nobody.
They
understood
accepted
anything.
it.
Nobody had time.
They
to look.
accepted
Nobody
it.
had time to look at anything, it was literally, it was
We went through line by line.
it was all done, there was no discussion. Anyway, you guys had no business in your home, on that practice. No governmental agency in the world does.
Alright, let's move on to,
No, I got something I'd like to say.
Mr. Hill.
Dan Hiller, this has gotta be the most dysfunctional board in the state. I can't believe you guys, there's nobody that's gonna put in an application for our clerk or secretary position. You guys are absolutely wasting money, arguing like a bunch of 2-year-olds. You're elected officials, start frickin' acting like it. You guys, hold on. You guys spent all that money on that road grader, and now you don't wanna use it. That's throwing our tax-paying dollars away. You keep accusing Greg on this Massey Ferguson tractor that's out there. You spend over $100 grand on that tractor, and now we're contracting out somebody else to mow our ditches. Why? Start using our equipment that you're spending our tax dollars buying, or quit buying it.
That's it, quit buying it.
It was a board action, Gene voted for it. You guys act like I did it myself, I didn't, it was a board action, it was.
One person doesn't buy it. One person doesn't get to choose what gets fixed or how money gets spent. It's by the whole board. Just because you guys don't like the older equipment, I don't care. You spent our money doing it. Quit wasting our money.
It works good, all of it works good. The tractor's brand new.
I know, it's got 40 hours on it. It doesn't say John Deere on the side of it. I don't give a damn. It says Princeton Township on the side of it.
It just didn't go to bid, that's.
Next.
It went through the same process.
Please state your name.
My name is Marcia Anderson, and I would just like to say, over the last several years and decades of watching this township, it's exactly what Greg says. This is the way we've always done it. There is no documentation, process, anything written down. There is nothing. This is just done in the whim of the moment as what we decide we were gonna do in the past 20 years. There's not an employee description or
Yeah, we have an employee description.
there is not an employee description posted or available. When I came in March asking for information, I received nothing. And all I've heard for years is how good everyone is here, that our staff would respond to anything. And over the course of this last year, all I've seen is obstruction, resistance, and dysfunction. And Greg, you are at the heart of much of it. You are at the heart of much of it because you've never run this township as a government. You've run it as an extension of your shop. And that is the truth. And when we stood up years ago and said, we want to talk about this money that's going out, the person that was asking for it stood up, said that this was philanthropy. No, this is redistribution. And the taxpayers were very prepared to put forward, and I'm making a motion right now that on the November ballot, we put some questions out there for our next ballot, that we put on questions about whether we want to have our tax monies going, because more money is being given away than is being put into a lot of our road work. And our roads are being neglected. And so let's focus on the first thing this township should be focusing on, and that's roads, not petty issues, because we don't have any documentation about how this township should handle its business. And there have been many meetings that we've sat here and tried to figure out, oh, well, this is the way it was done 20 years ago, because there's nothing here. It's an empty shell of a township, and it's been run very poorly over the many decades.
No other township in the world is run like ours.
That's for sure.
Bank, which you guys are getting now for your road, these guys will make sure you get.
It has nothing to do with our road, Greg. It has to do with your dysfunction. No, a lot of people are fed up with you and your dysfunction and how you've run this road and treated the citizens. We are not subjects. We are not your subjects. We are citizens.
You want to complain about a road dragged on 50th Avenue?
Yeah.
Right. They've neglected that how long?
We had County Line Road on the schedule for this year, but then these guys switched it to Marshall's road. They're taking the money for your road. See,
You took it for 40th, Greg.
All right.
Nobody else in the township is doing shit.
May I have the floor? For those of you that don't know me, I've got about 30 years' experience with the township government here for Princeton Township. I've got about 20 years' experience with the planning commission and the board of adjustment at the county. I was asked to take those positions. I gotta agree with Dan. This is the most, I won't use the word, you know what I'm talking about, dysfunctional, screwed up since you guys took over, that this is just absolutely unbelievable. I've never seen or even heard of something as screwed up as what you guys have got going. I started writing up stuff this afternoon about some of the improprieties that you have done, such as the budget, people who have court cases pending on them, people we've had to call court, the sheriff's department to come protect our clerk, the actions that we have not taken to protect our township clerk. I could go on and on. I'm not going to bore these people. I'm not going to do a lot of character assassination, which I could. I'm going to say one thing, and I want it on the record. I am recommending that Mr. Duden, Mr. Sokol, Mr. Whitcomb, and Mr. Persing resign their positions before they do more irreparable damage to this township. I yield.
I'll blow up my house first if that one is in charge.
I'll help you, Pat.
Coming from you, I think this is a compliment, just like
Any
after
other-
last month's, I got one thing to say, so I'll confirm. After last month's meeting, Marcia Anderson went into the office and got right in Connie's face and flipped her off and said, fuck you, fuck you.
I did not.
It's on tape.
It's
on
I
tape.
did not.
The sheriff's
It's on tape.
tape.
I did not.
The sheriff's department's got it, Marcia.
On tape.
Do not lie, because I did not.
Why do you
I
think
did
she
not.
had cameras installed in
I-
this building?
because-
For people like you.
Because I'm going to tell you what she did. She got in my face when I was talking to someone else.
I know my
about-
wife, she's not that
Excuse
way.
me. Okay, he's here. He
It's
can
on
tell
tape.
you.
All right.
You know
He
what?
can tell you.
I don't know.
She got
Lawrence
into
has
my
got it on-
face
Mr.
talking
Lawrence
about
has it
something.
at the sheriff's department.
Mrs.
Marcia
Rubin is out of order.
Out of order.
She was standing behind.
You guys ever wonder why when you come in here, there was cameras installed, locks were changed on this building? Do you ever ask why that was done? For the safety of my wife. Because of people like this?
So our taxpaying dollars are paying for your wife's comfort,
Okay.
not for the township
For her
as
to
a
do
whole?
a job for the township,
No one-
and yes, I think her security is important. When you got people coming in, flying off the handle, threatening, cursing at her all the time, she's here by herself. You don't think that's an issue where safety should be an issue? Then,
I don't think a
Then you
camera's
know.
gonna save her life.
You're right,
If
the camera's
they-
not gonna
How
save
do
her
you
life.
think that
Right.
those taxpaying
One
dollars are
person.
gonna save her?
okay, anyway, my name is Mark Wooten, by the way, I should have announced myself, excuse me.
Excuse me, I would like to know who was coming in and threatening your wife.
Marcia,
Are you done?
I never came in. I dropped one thing off once, and there were multiple
You know
people
what,
here.
I was instructed not to say anymore, because, you know, I've got a lot of 14 years of built-up animosity of what I've seen go on around here, and I see it as a railroad job to get my wife out, because I think there are people here that have their own agenda, shall we say, small-town politicians, I call it, and I think they're trying to get their own agendas through, and now you're talking about having reviews for employees and stuff, you know? My wife got raises, and it's like Greg said, she was never in charge of road things. She took it upon herself to make sure it got done. When Mr. Dahlheimer, which, Brian, by the way, why aren't you doing roads for the township anymore, may I ask?
I have no idea, it's probably because of your kids.
I think you know, Brian, but we're not gonna bring that up, but anyways,
If you'd like
but
to
I see
inform
Mr.
everyone.
Tom is, pushing, to get Dahlheimer in, but, I guess, you know, she did what she had to. I came in and helped her out plowing. I did whatever I could to help her out, because she had nobody, because it was the way it was. And you know what? I just, you know, you guys need to look. You bring somebody else in here as a clerk, you better worry about their safety, because there are residents, believe it or not, that will fly off the handle, and you got one lone person sitting in this office.
Well, maybe we need to have a little bit more, security in here and just not allow anybody to
Well,
bring in anything bad.
that's
And
probably a good
Maybe
point.
we need a good audit on this place, make sure everything has been done for 30 years and more.
Well,
Yeah,
Everything should be audited, clean the slate,
guess-
start
I
all
know there
over
was
and
audits
find
done
out
every
who
year.
did what.
yep, the audits were done
We
every
really
year.
don't want to do that, 'cause Mr. Stokes.
I know we don't, everybody be shaking,
Ask
wouldn't
Mr.
they?
Stokes about that when Mrs. Rubin was getting attacked one time here. Ask Gene about it. See if you get an honest answer.
Nicholas and McCoys.
Is there any further discussion? Any more open forum?
Yeah, Nicholas Taylor, sorry, I don't live here, as I said earlier, just offering an idea to help. I mean, everything's very heated and I understand that a lot's gone on in this township and it's very personal. If there's any way that we can maybe facilitate some kind of conversation outside of the township meetings to maybe try and get some ideas together that everyone can agree on, my wife and I would be willing to offer that with our group or some kind of separate forum for everybody, just, I mean, just to try and work it out for everybody. Just let us know.
Mary's ordered. I don't understand what the big deal is about employee reviews. It's really great to have between the employee and the employer. I mean, as an employee, I wanna know how I'm doing on my job. It's great to get feedback from my employer, and a lot of times, like as Mr. Wickham said, it's not always negative. You get attaboys, you get, you know, all kinds of things. You get, I mean, it's just great to always have that interaction with the person that you're working for, you know, and as an employer, you know, I want to be the one encouraging my employees, and, you know, if there's something that I think that maybe they could do better or whatever, but it doesn't always have to be that way, but it's always better to have constant communication, you know, so I just think that's always a good thing. It's not a negative.
Jean, Tim at our union times, who is the township's legal counsel? Can you tell me again?
Adam River was the attorney that represents.
Okay, was he here tonight? Was there any legal counsel here tonight?
No.
Do they typically attend your meetings?
He has when requested to.
Okay.
But he was out of town tonight.
Okay, he's not available tonight. There's nobody from the firm available tonight. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else for open forum? Now we'll close open forum. Any other business?
Hey, Jeannie. So recently I understand Connie left, but I want to share an experience I had. On August 23rd, I was at a dog show, and I received a phone call from Connie telling me that she keeps the recorders on extra time after the meetings are done to listen to what people say. She turns them on before the meetings and after meetings to hear what people say. I was very frustrated by this because the conversation I had was private with Gene, and I had been conversating with him, and then she called me to tell me that she had specifically listened to the minutes to hear what people said before and after. I understand what the recorders are for. I do this. And to know that she had recorded me without my consent, nothing, I was quite frustrated with.
You never asked her consent to play that.
This is open forum.
Never.
This is after a meeting when everything's done.
Security cameras are on all day and all night.
There's no sign that says there's security cameras in the building, actually.
Don't need to be, not in a public building like this. No signs.
But these are the recorders used for the public minutes. So I did contact the county, the state attorney general's office, and they both told me that this does not seem ethical to them, that people are being recorded without their knowledge, when the recorders up here are used to record your meeting, correct? This is what they're for. When the meeting's done and everybody leaves and it's no longer open forum and this is closed, the recorders were still on.
Security cameras are on.
No, she specifically,
Right there. She
no,
shuts them off right
she
there, takes a
specifically
picture.
said these are on.
I don't think so.
Greg, I don't get phone calls from city workers on random days. I've never received one in years. But to receive a phone call from someone to tell me on a Friday what I did, to me was fairly inappropriate. That was just something I wanted to share with everybody because I understand she might have did good at her job, but to me that was kind of like a threatening behavior towards me. Even though I actually came in here to have a great conversation about what the plan was with this whole thing with Connie. Connie actually said she'd be fine with it, because then it can show people that things aren't what they look like. It's not all on her. So me and Connie had a private conversation in this office up front, and she was perfectly fine with me recording things. But then to get a phone call that I'm saying things and it wasn't off my recorder, she specifically said she leaves them on because she knows people are going to talk about her, to me was quite distressing, because these are used for public.
After every meeting, she shuts it off. You can
No,
watch
she
this
did not.
shit right here and shut
Greg,
the tapes off.
let's listen to the tape. Because to me, if
Security tapes should go.
here's the thing, Greg, if she listened to the September meeting was the last meeting, correct? Or August meeting was the last meeting? If she listened to the August meeting, that means she was doing the minutes, which are not in front of you, correct? You did not have Connie's minutes. When I talked to Jean, it was after the meeting.
Right after the meeting.
No, she didn't quit after the last board meeting, the planning committee. So to me, it was quite distressing to get a phone call about something I did, or I talked to someone.
What's distressing for me is that.
You're a public figure. You went into the public
I
light.
have a religious belief against being videotaped and put on the TV.
What God do you worship? Where did he say in the Bible not to
Is
have a
that your business?
camera? You're the funniest man in
Greg, if you don't like the video, then you can open your space to someone who wants
No,
the
no,
space.
certainly did not.
Yes,
She
he
came in and
did.
set up, she never announced to anybody that she was coming in here setting up.
She did.
No, she didn't.
She
did.
Connie. She
Connie,
came in.
I had an hour-long conversation. Trust me, she told me she had to get back to work. She actually told me to wait 10 minutes first, then talk to
You
her.
never posted anything when I walked in tonight. So it's gonna be-
But I'm recording an open meeting. I'm focusing on you guys. I'm not recording these guys.
Any
Okay.
resident can record with their phone today. In fact, I talked to Max. I talked to the attorney there,
Who did you talk to?
Matt,
M.A.T.
and he says in today's world, the new world, that with cell phones, there is nothing they can regulate anymore about it. So any one of these people that have a cell phone are free to do it, as well as Andrea, whatever form her recording is, she's still a resident, she's promoting for the residents.
No,
She's
but
giving to the residents,
I perform a service to the resident.
So it's totally legal.
Gene,
through
we
the-
can take control of this meeting.
I didn't say it was illegal.
Open forum.
I said,
No, it
I
isn't.
didn't like it.
Yes, it is. No, they
Open
didn't.
forum's closed.
Another thing I'd like to address is the fact that your email account is a Gmail account.
Yeah.
I would recommend you get government accounts, possibly, because it's an open account. It's Google.
It's a personal account.
It's a personal Google account. And when you have personal accounts like that, they're easily hacked. They have no security. All the documents everybody's talking about sending are going to an account that if someone chooses to hack you, all it takes is they need an 8-digit code. And they can. It's not hard. You can look them up. Most government websites, you can find them and change over to that and possibly make sure all the passwords are changed.
Alright,
So.
if anybody has not spoken yet, I'll accept one word or another.
Yeah, 2 points. One, I think we've had enough free advice for non-residents under open forum. I don't know what their motivations are, but something doesn't smell right. I would like confirmation that Mr. Hiller's comments are verbatim in the meeting minutes. It was succinct and spot on. I think that the board is conducting malfeasance in their actions, hiring people to do work when we have the machines here to do it. It's just disgusting.
It's a waste of money.
Malfeasance.
Okay, if anybody else that has not spoken yet on open forum? No,
Something else that might
No,
be,
this is gonna,
oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we're gonna have to get moving.
Okay.
Any other business? I have one item. Wyandotte Township is having a discussion with the city of Princeton, fire department. They got the same bill as we did. They chose not to pay it. They have now given their 90-day notice to withdraw from the fire department. The fire department, or the city will not negotiate with them, will not talk to them, even though they provided a fire station during the time of the roundabout. And they actually built an addition to the town hall so they could house the fire trucks. They would appreciate a letter of support from selfish in keeping and protecting that because it improves the ISO rating if we have a substation right next to us or really close to us. It also keeps the tax base, which is what our fire business is based on. So I guess I would like to see us, if that would be the will of the board or the will of the people, to write a letter of support to Wyandotte Township and to the fire.
To the city in support of the Wyandotte Township.
Pardon?
And send a letter to the city in support of Wyandotte Township.
I think it'd help us and, I mean, if they could retract their 90-day withdrawal and.
We got two firefighters here, maybe they can give you some inside information on negotiations.
There aren't any.
There aren't any.
Last I had heard, and I'm not 100% active in it, but Bob Gerald is the liaison for the city, and Jenny Gerald is the one that's supposed to be doing the negotiations. It's going nowhere. It would affect our eastern half of the township if we lost that station. You know, they should have started negotiating long before. I mean, because they started talking about that several, months or years before they got that grant or to buy these trucks, and Wyandotte never argued the dollar amount at all until all the other townships were on board. Then all of a sudden Wyandotte stepped in and said, wait a second, we don't want to. So my personal feeling on that is our township should stay out of that. That's between the city and Wyandotte Township, and I don't think we should stick our nose into any more issues because we got enough going on here.
I agree.
And I'm on the fire department and respond to Wyandotte Station.
So out of curiosity, why is just background, why is Wyandotte pulling out? Is it because they've got the building?
They don't want the tax interest. They don't want to help pay for the new trucks.
And we saw that coming.
Yep.
We talked about that
for
for half a year. The
More
city
than that.
wanted a quarter or $500,000 ladder truck for their business community, and it's pretty and shiny and look good in parades. And we predicted this would happen.
But at the same time, the truck was also 30 years old.
I inspected it.
On that, I know township residents don't want to help pay for the ladder trucks. I understand that. That ladder truck will most likely never get utilized out here. But the city also helps pay for the tenders that bring the water out to us, just like we use today down in Baldwin. So the city helps pay for those trucks, and a new tender is about $350,000. So, you know, it is what it is.
Thoughts from the board?
I would move to stay out of any letter of support.
Motion made and seconded to stay out of any discussion between Wyandotte Township and the city. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Supervisory reports, Mr. Person.
Well, I think Scott summarized the
Yeah.
planning commission meeting up well. A couple things that I do wanna touch on, you know, they talk about hiring plow drivers, and, as I recall, Ms. Rubin had posted, several times for applications for plow drivers last winter, and it was a goose egg on the number of plow drivers that they were able to get to actually even apply. So, you know, to have a backup plan or to look at contracting this out, I'm not very optimistic that we're gonna see anybody apply. And I just wanted it on the record, they make it sound like they were flush with plow drivers last winter, but that simply wasn't the case. She was scrounging, she was scratching to get people in, and being able to get applicants just wasn't realistic, and I think that was actually part of the reason why you guys were looking at hiring the road manager, because she was overwhelmed with some of that duty, and actually, quite frankly, I think you were kind of tired of it too, weren't you?
Last year was an extreme year.
So,
We do have a young gentleman
what's
that
to
was
say
able
this
to-
year wouldn't be an extreme year?
Anything else?
That does it for me.
Mr. Wickham?
There was nothing for the fire board this last month. Couple things I just wanted to get on the docket for the future meetings. post. I'm not sure if we have all of the required federal documents up on the walls with, as it relates to employee, employment opportunity companies or businesses. We need to get those up. I'm not sure if we have those. Do we have those up?
Used to, I don't know if they're working, used to.
I think we need to discuss special meetings between now and we got some work to do here in the next month and a half with hiring and getting the snow contracts figured out. I'd like to know where we keep our off-site copies of all of our documentation, where that is. I don't know where it is. I don't know that anybody here knows where the off-site copies are, if we have them off-site. I'd like to call for an audit, a more in-depth audit than what we've had in the past.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah, there is.
I actually talked to the auditor's office today, and really the audit that's done annually is just kind of the 1,000-foot overview. It's not a very, he even said it's, you know, a very limited audit that's required year to year. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, the ones I've looked at are pretty intense. They look at everything. And then interview people to see if there's any suspicion.
So we're getting these all documented? Okay. I'd also like to make a motion that we all have full access to the building. If not, at least, punch-in number to get into the building with a lockbox. I've talked to 3 other townships. I've only talked to 3, and every one of them, all supervisors have access to the building. So I don't know why this place is locked up so tight. Security from who?
Anybody.
From you?
How many people do you want in here?
There's 5 supervisors,
And you
right?
can't have 5 people, or 3 with 3 of us.
That's right, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But if you want us to be doing things outside, and I gotta use the restroom, what I gotta do, go find a tree or something? Yeah, that's what I figured. So I'd like to make a motion that we all have full access to the building. I'd like to move forward with the progress on 33rd and 82nd, since all that money was set aside for that road, as according to Greg at the last city meeting, and I can play that for you right now.
We had set money aside, but you said 380,000, I didn't.
You said we got all money for it.
No, I said we have some money set aside for it.
So, the other thing is rent versus own. We've got information here. I brought this up at the last meeting. I know we've got brand new trucks and brand new vehicles and all these great things that we bought that we didn't have anybody to run them. And you haven't had anybody running them for over 1.5 years, because you can't get anybody to work with this board, or the old board.
Yeah, we don't set people.
So.
Didn't have any problem, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, till
Cause I'm looking at,
snowfall.
cause I'm looking at all the
Wow.
past from 2016. We're paying people like Carl Sanford to do our ditches. We didn't have anybody, who was mowing our ditches?
Carl Sanford was doing it. We hired him. That was a board action. That wasn't me.
So my point is.
And then we decided to take that and do it ourselves. That's when we bought the tractor.
Okay, yeah, I know. That's my point. Ditch mowing, we do it one time, late spring, 24 hours.
No, we do it twice a year.
I'm not done. 24 hours. Ditch mowing late summer, we do 2 passes, 48 hours. We'll do brush clearing. We could clean up the whole township in about 40 hours, and that's only needs to be done every 2 years. If we do any reclaiming, which from what I understand, this tractor can't handle a reclaimer because it's not heavy enough.
That's not good.
Well, just let me finish. Total hours per year is 192 hours. From any documentation, any studies that you look online, the public can have this, you'll find, and that doesn't even include the expenses for wages to employ and operate it, the shelter, the new addition that we had to build for it, insurance, fuel, or maintenance. And all these, everything, if you look up buying versus renting, they say that we should be utilizing the equipment at least 60% of the time to make it worthwhile. So out of 192 hours, we're using that piece of equipment less than 10% of the time. And I think that's just, that, you talk about a waste of money, that was a waste of money.
No, because that tractor will never depreciate in anything.
Oh, okay.
Never.
Well, we could have
Even
probably
Mr.
got.
Will about that, he will know about that. Does a good farm tractor depreciate 1 penny, but Lowe's it actually appreciates. I watched the farmer report this morning. 40-year-old tractors are bringing double what they sold for brand new. It's a good investment. You'll never lose a dime on it. Never. You will make money on that tractor.
Well, I'm sure you will, if you use it, but we're using
it comes time to sell it.
200 hours.
Yeah. And it'll look just like new 10 years from now, and you get more for it than you paid for it. See, that's the difference. You have to look at things in a business sense. You make money. If what you were saying is cheaper to hire service, why doesn't Mr. Wilhelm or Mr. Braun over there, why don't they hire everything custom done? How long do you suppose they'd be in the farming business if they hired everything custom done?
I hire some stuff custom done.
It's a no-win situation. I've done it. There's nobody in this building can tell me anything about business except probably these two guys probably know more about business than I do, but that's crap.
Okay.
I've done it. I've lived it.
So now all we gotta do is find somebody that's gonna, to use it.
How do you do that?
We haven't done it in a year and a half.
I haven't been in charge for a year and a half. Yeah.
That's for sure.
You got voted in a year where you guys did. Almost about 8 months or whatever it was. And that's when everything fell apart. We got guys who come in and operate the machines out there.
Not for what we're willing to pay.
What are you willing to pay?
Well, $20 an hour.
20 to 25. I can get an operator for $25 an hour.
Well, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Get
I
in there.
had a kid that wanted to do it too.
Okay.
I'll do it today, actually.
We've been waiting for a year and a half for it to happen. It hasn't happened
You've
yet.
never asked, you've never offered, you've never done anything. You said talk about it, you don't do anything. Talk about policies, for God's sake. Let's have a policy for something, really? Let's have a policy. Let's not do it, let's have a policy.
So, that's what we have for the, so I'd like, if it's not too late to go back to the motion about full access to the building, I'd like to make a motion to have full access to the building. Is it too late? Is that out of order?
I would say it's gotta be an agenda item.
Okay. So for next month's meeting, I'd like to have the discussion of the audit on there. I'd like to find out where we keep our offsite copies.
There isn't any.
We don't have any offsite copies. I think we're supposed to keep offsite copies.
Is there not a computer service that we pay every month to back everything up?
Probably is that, but I mean, if you're talking about hard paper copies, no. They don't have an offsite storage. Got fire containers in the back room.
Can we get a copy of the sheriff's report sometime?
Yeah, you can stop by the sheriff's office, talk to records, as long as it's not an ongoing investigation. And I'm not sure what the case is.
I mean, was it a big issue?
The break-in.
It was a break-in.
Attempted break-in with break-in. There was some commotion going on outside. The lights were on inside the building when we got here. Somebody had access to the building sometime that night. So, unless Kenny left the lights on, which I doubt, because he's pretty particular. But it's possible. But anyway, there was a resident drove by and saw somebody backed up to the door throwing things into the vehicle from the side of the building. Right, not the dumpster side, right by the road. He backed up, and then he backed up, that car took off.
Well, if we got security cameras.
No security cameras outside.
Well, if they were inside, if there was a break-in, the cameras would show.
When I was told that nobody ever touched the building.
Well, no.
We'll see the report next month.
That was
He was
what.
here.
Well, if we've got cameras, we should be able to pull the
I
cameras
talked to him that
up.
afternoon.
Right?
I talked to him again on the scene.
Can we pull the cameras up and review it, see if there was?
You know how to do it, yeah.
Anyway,
That's. And the other thing we talked about was getting things posted to the website. None of, we wanna make sure that we're continuing forward with getting things posted to the website.